Johnson, Executive Officer here at Naval Station Norfolk, and I'm standing in front of entry control point number 4 here at the Naval Station on a brisk, cool Friday morning. The reason I'm standing in front of entry control point 4 here is because later on tonight and early Saturday morning, this is going to be the scene where several stories come to an end and new stories begin. Now, the stories that come to an end go something like this. An individual, young, 18 to 26, goes on liberty, consumes alcohol, gets behind the wheel of a car, and then ends up back here at the installation trying to gain access to get back to the ship or the barracks. Naval Station Security, doing their job controlling access to include sobriety checks, detects alcohol in the driver, assesses the level of alcohol, determines its excessive, arrests, and prosecutes the individual.
I'm Airman Kirk from Tactical Air Control Squadron 22. In June of 2007, I was pulled over for reckless driving. I was driving 103 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone. And then in July of 2007, I got a call while I was on a restricted license. I just got off of my community service for that day. A friend had called me up. He was at a bar. He had been drinking, couldn't drive. So I went and picked him up on my restricted license when I wasn't supposed to be driving, and we stopped to get something to eat at Ruby Tuesdays. While we were at Ruby Tuesdays, I'd ordered 2 beers while I was there. They were the tall beers, and after we'd finished eating, we walked outside and I got in my truck and we proceeded to drive to my house. I was pulled over for a blown headlight in my truck, and when the officer came up, he realized I was driving on a suspended license and also had been drinking. I was then arrested right there in front of my friend, and cars driving by on the side of the road and everything. All these people's going by looking at you, your friend's sitting in the car looking at you, and they arrested me, put me in the back of the car, took me down to the precinct, and I spent the night in jail. They had charged me with a DUI for .08. I was fined $500 in court fees and also $1,000 for my lawyer. On top of that, my car insurance had jumped up from the $180 a month that I was paying, and now it's over $500 a month just to be able to drive. My license is suspended for a year. I was also given a year jail time, and the year jail time is suspended for 2 years on good behavior as long as I have no involvement with police. If I get pulled over one time or have any alcohol-related incident within 2 years of my DUI, I'll have to get to jail for 365 days. My advice to sailors today is just do not drink and drive. There are so many ways out there to you can find a ride home so easily or get a cab ride home. Don't drink and drive. The consequences will cost you so much in the long run. I have a 5-year-old daughter, and having her sit there and ask you for a ride to go to the park, and you have to look at her and tell her you can't take her because you can't drive. It's a very horrible feeling. You'll never have a feeling like that in your life. It's so hard to explain to your kids that you can't drive them somewhere when you're their parent and you're expected to take care of them, and you can't do the things that you'd always done for them.
We were making a plan on who all was drinking and who all was driving. Got to the club, everybody's having fun. I thought it would be okay for me to drive. I took that responsibility on my own, and I got pulled over. He took me back and he did a breathalyzer test. I was .04 over, and I didn't even think I was that drunk.
Johnson, I think about possible DUI.
I spent the night in jail that night. Wasn't a great feeling. It was my first time I had ever gotten in any type of trouble, and I just felt really bad. The next day, my chain of command asked me what had happened. At first, I started to lie, and then I realized that that wasn't a good decision. So I came back and told them that I did get a DUI.
HM3 Barksdale was maxed at NJP. She was given the full range of punishments available, 45 and 45, 1/2 times 2, and reduction in rate to E3. I have since looked up, did the math basically on what this cost her. As an E4, the reduction in rate over a 12-month period cost her nearly $3,000. 1/2 times 2, roughly $1,800. E4 to E3, because she lost her BAH as an E4 over 4 years, cost her roughly $12,000. She also received a $2,100 civilian fine, which made her grand total close to $19,000 for this one infraction.
At first it affected my work performance, but since then I've picked it back up and still remained a 5-0 sailor.
My name is Petty Officer Karsten Joshua, and I was basically, your typical hard charger. I was stationed on the USS John F. Kennedy in Jacksonville, Florida, and come time when my enlistment was ending, I got picked up for the Blue Angels. Went out, had a few too many drinks, and I was actually leaving the bar and going to another bar, and that's where I backed into a parked car in a parking lot. And when you're young, you feel like you're invincible sometimes. I got pulled over about 12:30 at night. Whether I passed the sobriety test or not, I hit a car, so they got me for 2 counts of hit and run in a parking lot. Spent the night in jail, and when I got out, the judge gave me 10 days jail time. I'm with the Blue Angels. I got a good job, and I blew it all. I talked with a lot of chiefs and good people, and basically they told me, you can go one way or the other. You can let this ruin you, or you can bounce back. And so that's what I chose to do, bounce back. With my situation, I'm kind of glad it happened because, like I said, some people think they're invisible. If they get away with something for so long, then the next time, if I didn't get caught that night, the next time I may have killed somebody if I were to drive again.
I'm Lieutenant Shane Marion, Security Officer at Sills Point Police Precinct, Naval Station, Norfolk, Virginia. Before you drink and drive, take a minute and think about how your actions may impact you or people around you and what possible consequences you may face if you do drink and drive. Not only is your career in jeopardy and your own life in jeopardy, but think about the people around you on the road. Think about the van full of a family, a mother and a father with children driving next to you. Think about the college student going home. Think about the people on base in the crosswalks and your shipmates on base who expect that they're safe here. Think about those things before you get behind the wheel of a car and drive.
Bottom line is, and I think I speak for all installations in DOD, for those that don't get it, we will detect you. We will arrest you. Sooner or later, we will catch you.